And let us pray. Armim ka Adonai ki dili tani. Adonai Elohai la'olam odeka amen. I will extol you, O Lord, for you have drawn me up. O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever. Amen. This year in preparation for Christmas, and the 4 weeks up until this week when we've been getting ready for Christmas, we've been talking about finding God in light and in darkness. We talked about the hope that we find in the light, the peace and the promise that we find in darkness, the joy that God is in the midst of both, and the love that we find overall in experiencing God. And so today, in both light and in darkness, we get to come and celebrate the birth of Christ. We come and celebrate the coming of the light. So as I was reading through the text in preparation and trying to figure out what to say on this Christmas Eve that was different perhaps from what I said last year or the year before that or, the preceding years, I read through and I noticed something about the text. We don't actually know what time it was that Jesus was born, which means we don't actually know that Jesus was born at night. But that's how we think of it, right? These Christmas Eve worship services happen in the evening when it's dark out, no matter what the people who are here at 9:30 this morning tell you, right? We expect the birth of Christ to have happened at night, right? We sing about it. We're going to do Silent Night in a few minutes, right? Like, this is what we expect because the shepherds were out at night, right? But nowhere in the text does it say, and Mary's time came at midnight, 0:30, or whatever. It's simply that the baby was born when Mary's time came. And I wonder if some of the reason that our collective imaginations have decided that this late night birth had to be the way that it is, because there is relative safety in the darkness of night, and we're comfortable with the idea of Christ having come in the night, right? Because at night, things feel more comfortable in a way. The baby Jesus was swaddled and laid in a manger, and in the night, we ourselves feel a little swaddled, at least at my house, right? Nice and cozy and comfy, wrapped up in blankets, settling in to sleep. At night, we're comfortable. We're watched over. We're cared for. In short, at night, we're safe. We are wrapped in God's arms. And at night, there may be a lot of unknowns going on. We can't see too far because the darkness hides the things going on, but that's out there, and we're in here. And there will be a time when we need to deal with whatever is out there, but it's bedtime, and I'm not dealing with that today. The worries of today are enough and done. We'll deal with it tomorrow. For now, in this nighttime, we get to relish in God's embrace. We get to be at peace. And there is peace in the image of a Christ child born at night, no matter what our experience of childbirth is, because more often than not, it's not silent, right? And yet, even in the midst of this comfort and this wrapping embrace of God, we know that part of the power of Christ being born at night is the experience of the glory of God to those shepherds. We know they were in the fields because they were watching their flocks at night. We don't know that it happened at night, but we know that they had been there at night. And as we imagine these shepherds being approached by the heavenly host, it's so much more powerful. It is so much more dramatic if all of the heavenly forces appear in darkness. It's as if the divine light has been turned on and the glory of God is shining around them. And the power of God is reaching out so much more palpably in the middle of night. because that says that the birth of Christ is something that cannot be missed. The great glow of God in the midst of the fields that tell the shepherds that something new is happening, something exciting is happening, and this cannot be missed. This is exciting news. For on this night, Jesus is born, Emmanuel, God with us. And so we come today. We come in worship of the birth of Christ. We come knowing both God in that darkness and in that light. We come being able to celebrate because we know that we are wrapped in God's arms. And we rejoice because Christ has come. Because this birth of this baby is not just an ordinary, everyday thing. There's a birth that is heralded by angels and choirs, by light in the night, by celebrating, by saying, we know that this is new. In our lives, we experience uncertainty. In our lives, we're not so sure about what's going on. There are wars across the world. There are debates that affect our lives on all levels of the world. In our church, we're not so sure what the next day or weeks or months will bring, and yet, on this night, we are able to say that God is with us. Not just wrapping God's arms around us, but Christ is born to walk alongside us, to show us the way. So on this Christmas, we can shout from the rooftops, we can celebrate, we can say, Christ is born. And that is a beautiful thing. Amen.